Hello, this is OGTV, the People's Telly. The program now is Roundtable at the clock of 9:30. We come your way to discuss issues related to national development and growth, economy and social economic development of the nation. My name is Moreni Keji Shobaluju, and today we will be talking about something very, very special. Yes, very special that affects every home. Yes, it's like something that has come to stay with us. There's the main issue bordering around the society, family. It's like a problem, a been in the neck, kind of a cankerworm that has eaten deep into the fabric of family growth and otherwise. Yes, talking about gender-based violence. This has remained troubling reality in many communities across Nigeria, and from domestic abuse to harmful cultural practices. The impact is devastating on families and society at large. So today, I want to welcome you to Roundtable once again, and the program today will be looking at gender-based violence, roles of community leaders. And I have with me in the studio, but first of all, let me just apologize for starting a bit late today. Yes, my guest in the studio, I have Mrs. Tokwe Fatokun. She's a gender-based advocate, and she's also educationist. I want to appreciate her for making it down to the studio this morning, all the way from Imeko. That's a faraway place to be here on the show. Good morning, madam. Thank you for being part of the program today.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you so
much.
My
pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. Yes, like I said in my introduction, we're looking at gender-based violence and the roles of community leaders and, of course, all other stakeholders. Yes, as the program progresses, you will also be part of the conversation, maybe, your advice, your submission, your opinion, and, possibly what has been the problem in your own area, and, how do we go about finding lasting solution to the problem at hand, because it is really a problem. Gender-based violence is a problem. So I want to quickly go and ask, from the grassroots, you want to talk about gender-based violence. You're somebody who is, very close to the grassroots, and then how it has been. So what you want to explain, what has been your experience when you talk about gender-based violence?
Thank you. Good morning, viewers at home. As she has introduced me, I'm Mr. Tokwe Agnes Fatokun from Ilara in the Imeko local government. Gender-based violence, yes, it has been a serious issue in every home. And I can say gender-based violence is a harmful act that is being given or that is being done to an individual based on their gender. An act, a harmful one, not even ordinary act, but a harmful one that is being penetrated to an individual based on their sex. And when we're talking of gender-based violence, we are not talking of only girls here.
Yes, we are not talking about female gender alone. It involves everyone. Okay, Madam Temitokwe, I would like to, ask you to hold on a bit for us. We'll quickly go for this short break to allow our second guest to join us on the conversation this morning. Join us after this timeout.
Gender-based violence is present in every society around the world, and it takes many forms. Gender-based violence is a direct violation of human rights, keeping us trapped in a cycle of gender inequality. It is an harmful act of abuse perpetrated against a person's will and rooted in a system of unequal power between women and men. Gender-based violence can be caused by general stereotypes and prejudice, normative expectation of femininity and masculinity, or the socialization of gender. Gender-based violence can be physical, sexual, psychological, and economic. Gender-based violence should be stopped because it causes physical injuries, psychological trauma, low self-esteem, and death. It can be prevented by empowering women economically and providing women and girls with safe space. Speak out to stop the violence. Say no to domestic violence. Always protect women's rights.
Yes, nice to have you join us again on this set of Roundtable on OGTV. Yes, before we went for that short break, I said we want to allow our second guest to join us in the studio. And join me as I welcome in the studio today, Honorable Abayomi White is a community leader. Good morning, Honorable Abayomi White.
Good morning.
Nice having you join us.
It's a great pleasure. Good morning, all the viewers at home.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, this is to say that we are going to have a very balanced conversation this morning. Yes, we're talking about gender-based violence, and Ms. Temitope was talking the other time to, a fact that, okay, it is not about a female gender. This gender-based violence does not have to do with a particular gender, but every gender. So now we have a man and a woman in the studio to go ahead with this discussion this morning. Yes, I'll go back to you, madam. You were talking about the fact that this is not about a particular gender. So you want to say that do we still not realizing the fact that there are policies of government that kicked against gender-based violence? Then why do we still have these frequent cases? It's becoming kind of a troubling reality that we have to talk about it every day. If it is not in your community, it is in my community tomorrow. It's everywhere. So why do we still continue despite all the awareness, sensitization talks and everything? So why do you still have gender-based violence, arising from our society?
Thank you. Like I said, that is not a particular gender, and it's so troubling that despite the awareness, despite the talk, despite the seminars, we still have these acts on and on every time. Like you said, if it doesn't happen in my community, it might happen in another community. And I think what we need to do is let there be a punishable measure, thank you, that we guide, that we keep it away from people. That if people knew that if you act or you do this, you will be punished, that might help them and that might keep them away from doing that act. But if we keep talking, if it is only talking, making awareness, taking seminars, and there is no measure to back it up, no punishable measure to back it up, our people, they will still continue in that act.
Okay, it's a good one that you're thinking about. Maybe something that will serve as deterrent to every offenders of gender-based violence. But let me ask you, Honorable Abayomi White. When you're talking about gender-based violence, a lot is expected from these community leaders. A lot is expected from people who are maybe in the policy-making section, who should be able to say, okay, this is wrong, and you not think we are having it, we are not going to sleep and say that, okay, we are free from this gender-based violence. What do you think should be done? How can we control this? She is talking about, a punishment, yes, a kind of punishment that will be meted out to the offenders. So what do you think?
Thank you very much. Once again, good morning to all. Like our guest has mentioned, there's punishable laws enacted and they are in operation. But the problem starts from the community. Like if my son of Chief A or son of Chairman B commit such offense, they want you to go underground. By the time you see everybody rising up, they want to defend and protect such person so that it does not see the wrath of the law. This is where there are problems. And it's from the community. Community needs to rise up and own up that if this happens, we are all going to stand against it. It has to be communal acceptability. There are laws, but before you get to the law, I think many things must have gone underground. By the time you say you want to prosecute, let's take for example, you get to the police now. This girl has committed an offense, this boy has committed an offense. By the time you get to the police will say, okay, we are going to the court. Before you know it, my name, my family name, I must not be heard that it is this. That's where they will kill the case. So these are the reasons that makes it to look as if there are no laws. There are laws that guide against it, and there are punishable ones. If in a situation where you commit such offense, it is the court that will determine the number of years that such person. It depends on the gravity of such offenses, because like our guest rightly mentioned, it's both male and female. Like a female who goes into go and first bully and then rape a man. Some people will say, how can a female rape a man? It's very, very possible. It's happening. And that's what our society has turned to. And if you don't do it, I'll kill you. Or they drug the person to make sure it's more effective. These are the negative aspects of it. So before you know it, the power that be in the community will not want it to go out. And that is the more problem that we are actually facing.
Should we now fold our arms and allow it go that way? Because we have been identifying the failures now. We are looking at the fact that even in the community, people are not ready to speak out. People are afraid of their name being mentioned and all of that. So what do you think we should do? In law enforcement themselves, like you have said, when you take these matters to court, you find out that at the end of the day, it might not get the necessary, backup or maybe the punishment that the offender should get, and then it becomes tiring. Nobody's ready to talk about it any longer. So what do you think should be the community way of handling it? We are not allowed to take laws into our hands. We cannot say, okay, because a couple are having issues and then maybe the husband beats the wife and the community decides to beat the husband, and because of that, and the cause of that, maybe something happened. It might lead to death. It might lead to kind of a serious injury, and then the law will say you have taken laws into your hand. Why don't you report? And we're having issues that even in the court, in the law enforcement agencies are not also doing enough. So what do you think should be done? Where do we, have a meeting link?
Well, thank you very much. I want to. You see, the issue of the law enforcement agencies, like I mentioned, especially the police, the civil defense, they are also within the community. They can only go ahead with a case that has witnesses that can be proven. They cannot do otherwise. If you go to the presence of a judge, the judge will ask you questions. Who is the witness? What are the proven evidence that this thing happened? But by the time it gets to the stage, you see, as a labor, we are going to settle it at home. But the question really that you asked was, how do we? I think the best is we go back to the basics. It's a communal effort. Let all the communities see this as a stigma that needs to be well attended to. If in a situation where you don't want your own name to go into the mud, train your child. Make your child to be more responsible, so that your child who becomes a married woman, or your son that becomes a married man will not misbehave. Because it's even happening within the adults. I experienced some people sometimes ago who are well-to-do beating each other. And by the time you look at this, nobody wants to come closer to them and say, Lagwaja to Lagwaja, what are we talking about? But the fact remains on, there are some things that goes beyond the community, because the community will want to restrain themselves. But all things being equal, will start from the community, who the overall, that's the fourth realm of governance. They are the ones that can easily bring together all that we are talking about. Because we are having balance, we are having chiefs, we are having obas. And before it gets to the law enforcement, there's a lot of things that have to be done in-house to solve these problems, and they can be easily taken care of if the community takes up the responsibility.
Thank you so much. Yes, training, like you said, and statistically proven, out of say 100 cases, you record, out of 100, 20 to 30 cases have been recorded every day of gender-based violence. And he said, training. As an educator, you know what it feels like to train a child from the home is one institution, and of course school plays a lot of roles when it comes to training a child. So what do you think? Do you think the schools are doing enough, coming from your own constituency, your own jurisdiction as an educationist? Do you think the school is actually doing enough to ensure that we control even from the basics?
Thank you. Yes, the schools are doing their best. The schools are doing their best, because I knew we usually organize seminars, we have literary and debate time where we gather the learners, and sometimes we give them topics on this to go and prepare. Then even on the assembly ground in the morning, before going into their classes, they have this topic that the teachers will talk to them on the assembly, to teach them how to be responsible as a boy and as a girl child in school, at home, and the society at large. The teachers, they are parents too, and they are training their children at home. So they bring this back to school. Even us as proprietors of schools, or let me say heads of schools too, the head teachers, principals, and teachers, we do put in our best to train these learners, to teach them from the primary school, from the upper primary. And that is why government, even in some of the topics in the school, we have what we call sex education. We teach them, there are some topics that are related to how to be responsible as a girl child and as a boy child. And another thing is, sometimes you will see parents coming to school to bring reports of their children from home. We also put in our best to educate these learners, to teach them and to correct them, and to put them on the right path on what to do. Not to, the boys not to bully the girls, and even the girls not to bully. Like you said, it is not
about a particular gender.
Yes, it is not about a particular gender. It's for both genders. So the boys and the girls, we do our best, we put in our best to train them, to teach them, giving them topics that they also can talk and give it out. Other learners will hear from them. Even during the end of the year program, sometimes we do dramas that are related to this topic. Teachers and parents will be there and watch it. They also learn from their children. So, and it's not only about the school, even in church. It's related to church too, because church, play a very vital role. Most of these religious institutions, they also play a vital role in this gender-based violence. It's talking to us, like in the church. In my church, we gather the youth and educate them. Once in a month, they used to have a meeting, and I believe it's the same in other churches too. You see them having youth, maybe during the lockdown, they used to have what do they call this? Their gathering, conference. They go to camp where they invite ex-officers, they invite personalities to come and speak to them, to let them learn and bringing them together, boys and girls, female and male, to be together. They teach them what is expected of them. So I believe with the little, or with, let me say, with what teachers and parents and religious institutes too, we will curb the gender-based violence.
Well, thank you so much, Ma. But you know, I want to ask, in many cases, victims seem not ready to speak out because you know, fear of stigma, and they believe, okay, being abused in a way and saying it out, or maybe reporting same, like a case of a girl that is raped now, and then you don't expect such a girl to keep quiet, but the situation now is it's difficult for such a girl to come out and say, oh, this is the situation, because of fear or stigma. So what do you advise in this situation?
Thank you, Ma. Let me give you a case study. There is a mistress that reported to me putting an eye on a child in the class and noticing that the child has changed from who she was 2-3 months ago, and she changed suddenly. All of us now put our eyes on the girl, calling her and asking her questions. We gave some interview, bringing her closer to us, and in the process we knew she has been raped. So it is like we said earlier, that teachers, they have important role to play. Teachers have to open their eyes in the classroom. The proprietors, the directors of schools, the head of schools need to open their eyes to see and observe these learners. You bring them closer, ask them questions, teach them that they can say no, and teach them to speak out. Tell them they should talk, and if any one of them speak, we should just see it as a way to help that child. Not we now put our eyes on the survivor and see that child as someone that has to be separated from his or her colleague in the class. If we do that, it will not encourage others to speak out.
Okay. So I'm with you. Yeah, you're talking about a case, and when you now realize that the girl or the child has been raped, and what was you know, the reaction? What was done?
We invited the parents.
Okay.
Even before we invited the parents, we asked the girl, and she told us the man, the guy. So from school, we arrested the guy, and we invited the parents to the police station.
It's a serious problem.
Like Mr. White, Honorable White said, you know, it will get to a point that you will now be hearing, I'm a lot shele, I'm a lot jewel, we'll go and settle it at home. So, but we tried our best to report the case to the police station, to the police, and we encouraged the guy, the parents too, we encouraged them, but at the end of the day, they asked us to please leave the matter for them, that they will go and settle it at home, and not because of anything, but because they don't want their name to be in the mud. They don't want people to know,
and because of the kind of stigma on the girl.
When the girl came back to school after a while, I had to call the girl, encourage her, and let her know that nobody will use that against you in the school. And to God be the glory, she's now in secondary school. And she's doing very well.
Thank you so much, Ma. And you know, it's a serious one. When you are as a father, you realize your child is being abused somewhere, and you're asking yourself question, what do you do to this situation? Will you also, as a father, keep quiet? If you are in the shoes of the parents, do you think it is appropriate for any parent to keep quiet?
Well, that is a big issue, and like what we have been discussing, what about the father being same to the daughter? We are not, it's an expanded issue. A father that look at the daughter that he gave birth to and see the daughter as a good one to sleep with, I think it's madness. It's a psychological problem, and it now depends on the reasoning of the parents, because it's not only the father or the mother alone that can handle the situation. The two must come together to hold up to this responsibility. As a father, for you to say the end result is community. Because when the father says, say one thing, I just kokon. Kí ló fẹ́ ká ṣe? Betty, ó ti gé ọmọ lọ́wọ́, or Betty jábọ́.
That the deed has been done.
The deed has been done. So what else do you want us to do? So at that stage, the man may be at a crossroads. But ultimately, there are some men that will not take it. But if the community is behind such a man, they can go to any length.
But considering the fact that this is still very common in our society today, I'm talking about this gender-based violence, despite the awareness, and we're looking at relevant stakeholders who are supposed to be in charge of doing the needful to ensure that this is in the board, and it's still like that. Do you think we should, not we should not take a kind of action? Yes, it's kind of saddening to hear that we continue. It's becoming a common case. Like in 100, you are still going to have like 20 cases daily, 30 in most cases. So what do we do? Why is this problem refusing to go away? Why?
Well, to me, I want to believe we're all believing in social improvement. One, if you go to some homes, the parents are not very cautious of what kind of films that children watch. I remember there was a case of a pupil in my school. She, like my guest mentioned there, you just find out that early in the morning she's already sleeping and she's very bright. What's the problem? A girl of just about maybe about 6-7 years old then, sleeping in class. By the time we try to find out, we'll ask her to tell us what is happening. We'll make her feel free, we'll counsel her, and that's work of some of the counselors to assist in schools to grow. Now by the time she owned up, she said, with the senior ones at home, they have 2 male senior, and then 1 male senior, making 4 of them. They will allow the parents to go to bed. By the time it is after 11 p.m., they will now open the television. They will lower the volume of the television to the extent that if you are not good enough in sound, you may not even know something is going on. So it's the film they watch till 4 a.m. every day, and after 4, they know the parents will start waking up. They will now go to their own sleep. So when we invited the parents said, in my house, I said, in your house. In my house, in your house. And sure, you sure this thing happened in my house? Right? Can you do this? We have told your children that nothing will happen. We will not disclose to anybody. But you, we have to disclose to you for you to take caution, action.
Conscious effort.
This is the time they start. This is the time they close. Unfortunately, the second day, they didn't watch the film. Third day, they didn't watch the film. By the time it becomes the fourth day, they go back. But the father too pretended not knowing. So, and to God be the glory, the father said he did not discuss with the mother. So that there's no leakage.
Yes, so that there's no way they know.
So, by the time they will look at the situation, the man just puts the door ajar. They started. And by the time they were watching it, about 15 minutes to it, he just opened the door so that it's not that they have the sound. Boom!
This is what you do?
This is what you do every day. It started panting. And at the end of the day, he was able to discover. So, he now decided not to allow television in that house again.
Is it by not allowing television in the house?
No. I think what I'm saying is not allowing television in the house, that by removing those things from ground.
No,
but the action is how do we monitor them?
That is it. I was going to
the
say.
monitoring now is the only way to get it done is removing it one, then two. By the time you give them time, it's a question of time. They will go back.
I was going to say that, okay, instead of maybe removing it, then you are the parents, you should be the one to say that, go to bed and ensure that they are in bed before you even go
to bed. Madam,
they
will go to bed. Are you not going to bed?
Because
they go to bed. By the time you are finally in your room sleeping, they will go back out of their room.
Use the phone in their room.
Then phones are another thing.
Till 5 a.m.
If
the phone can be taken away from them.
Okay.
When the parents will say that's the
way to communicate with them.
The parents will say that's what is invoked. Phone is another dangerous aspect of
see them watching phone and then reading so many things.
And all these crimes are committed on phone.
As the phone gives positive effects,
there are a lot of positive aspects.
There are a lot of negative effects on them.
More than 80%.
The negative is more than positive.
More than the children.
The
children.
But what do we do? That's the question for you.
Well, the government intends sometimes ago. They were discussing it at the national level, but solemnly there's no noise again. That they wanted to look at what age limit should the children be allowed to use phone, and what are the type of things should be allowed at what age and at what level. The noise started, but it is now not coming up again. But if we are able to do it in our houses, are you getting that? Like I run a school too. In my own school, it's already in the letter of admission. Use of phone is totally prohibited.
Thank you.
And if a phone is seized from the child, it is end of that child in school before that phone can be retrieved.
Because all this technology, put them through to learn a lot, and then when they learn from it, it's also shaping their characters and attitude too. Well, I want to ask you, Ms. Temitope, you know, considering what we have been talking about, it's a problem that has, you know, become an issue on the table of everyone. We're talking about it now and then. But if you had the opportunity, maybe talking about the implementation of immediate policy or intervention that could, you know, bring to the barest minimum, talking about controlling gender-based violence, what would that intervention be in your own, you know, opinion? What do you think government should do? How best do you think this should be handled? At least maybe a kind of to implement immediate, you know, intervention, maybe from government or the community leaders.
Thank you. There are many ways to eradicate this. Like you said, gender-based violence, roles of community leaders. I think number one there, education. They learn all this. So for them to stop doing it, they have to learn it too. So we need to educate them. We need to educate them. Education is the best, and they must be ready. We must be ready to teach them. Like organizing a seminar, there can be a rally round whereby we share this small leaflets. Thank you. We can share small leaflets that we have things written on them. Let them read. Some of these children can read. They know what they are doing. Even their parents, like Honorable Wife, the speaker said, that parents too do abuse their children at home. Let them collect these leaflets and read and see that if you do this, this is what will happen to you. You'll be prosecuted. So we need to educate them in school, at home, in the religious organizations, the church, the mosque, wherever, on the media too, like we are doing right now. Let them be educated. Let us educate them the effects and what are the consequences of it too. When they learn this. Another one is, like I said, we organize seminars for the parents too. In school, maybe during the PTA meeting, we can invite someone to speak to them on, like, parents. There are some parents that do send their children for holiday in maybe their uncle's home, whereby the uncle abused these children. So during the PTA meeting, or if there's any program in the school, we can invite someone to educate parents too. Like I said, in the church. Then another one again is I've spoken about the media. We're talking about home too. At home, let parents educate their words at home. Teach them. Let them learn from home. They spend most of their time at home, though they are in school too. But let the father and the mother educate their children. Let them learn, and let the boys know that they are to protect the girl child, not to bully them. And another one is, let us teach them to speak out. Let them know that no is also an answer. They should also know that no is an answer. Not that I can't say no because it's my uncle. He asked me to do this, or because it's my husband and he said I must do this and I must do it. Let girls know, and the women too know that they must say no, and the boys too, that if an aunt or a teacher or a neighbor in the society want to abuse them, they can also say no, because we said it, that is not only about a particular gender, it's for both gender. So let them take no as an answer. Let them know how to say no. Then what again? I think with this, then, like we said, there are measures. Like Honorable said, and I think I said that let the government, let them try to prosecute anyone. If this is coming up frequently, we see that it will be reduced. But if we just discuss it and there are no corrective measures, there are no punishments, there are no side effects on the talk. You know, people will just be doing it like,
Nothing will
happen. Even if they take me to police station, even if I'm arrested, they will leave me. Nothing will happen. But if there are effects, if there are consequences, if there are sanctions, if there are punishments for it,
you would agree with me that to a large extent we still have cases, we still have sanctions. Let's take, for example, the case of this sexual abuse against this popular Nollywood star. You know, he was found guilty and then he was taken to, and he just came out of the prison, got some years imprisonment, and he just came out. We have been having cases. I think this has to do with the mindset, the individual too. We should also be talking about the individual. We need to also educate ourselves and have a mind of not doing something new. We should also learn how to do the right thing at all times. Yes, I'm also coming back to a case where we are recently a school teacher abusing a male student, and at the end of the day we got to know that the male student impregnated the teacher. That is that. So a lot is happening in our society. We need not just to keep quiet, we should be talking about it. Yes, Honorable White, before we go on the program today, you know, we are talking, yes, you said it, like you mentioned, like you run a school too. And recently in Ogun State we had reading as a subject being introduced into the curriculum, yes. So do you think all this gender-based violence awareness be integrated into school curriculum? Maybe kind of a strong way of ensuring that it is a must, it is something, because as you're talking here today, we can't say every school does the same thing you are talking about. So if it is a strong policy kind of maybe introduced or integrated into the school curriculum, what do you think?
Well, I want to believe all these are part of it. They're already in the curriculum. They are applied the way they are applied. Like what we are looking for is how to make things work for good. We have NGOs. I also have the opportunity of running an NGO, Association for Grassroots Development. We partner with the government. We'll do publicity. We'll do advocacy. We'll talk to parents, even talk to artisans, talk to women groups. Look at Ministry of Women Affairs. A lot of NGOs are collaborating with them. A lot of different groups working together with the state government. Go to Ministry of Health, a lot of NGOs are there. But the fact remains that you've spoken about is the issue of mindset. We just had recently of a copper being impregnated by a head of
NYC.
And
who is supposed to be monitoring
the one that's supposed to monitor. Tell me what would be, I don't know the age of that girl, to that person. At least there should be difference of 15 to 20 years.
20 years, it's not impossible.
And if there's a difference of 15 to 20 years, that means it could be your child. That is exactly what we are saying, that some parents too, father, can take up the daughter. Another mindset is we as community people in the house. There are some parents that doesn't care the way they dress. Immorality is from home. A parent taking bath who doesn't care about the male child being around. Bring my towel. Let me bring my wrapper.
Why she's naked?
Why she's naked? I tell you, this is the beginning of the problem. And that child will see it as a norm. It's a normal thing. It's not a problem. You are not supposed to, even a child that is more than 3-4 years is not supposed to see your nudity. But parents see that it's my baby, it's my child. The moment you are naked,
give it to him.
Yes. So these are the problems we are facing, and that male child especially will start having a psychological thinking.
This thing looks like
this girl, I think she asked what my mommy has. Let me touch it. Is that not a problem? It is home. And then parents too are ready to speak out, ready to counsel their children. Tell them, please, you are free to talk. Tell me, let your children be your partner. With that, you can easily get fast information that you need to get, rather than allow it to be escalated before getting the information.
Okay, let's now ask about kind of initiatives that you think should also be adopted at community levels. You know, it is not about taking laws into your hand, maybe when you discover gender-based violence around your community, but what initiative do you think would help in reducing this in our communities?
Like I said in the first instance, the community leaders, they give them a lot of training. That's why before you can become a head of any community now, you must have gone to Shasha. And that training involves how to make good use of your office, how to manage human and material resources. It's part of the training given to them. Now, for the human and for the community to see that situation, you take pragmatic steps, actions that will make them to know that it's a communal decision. And with that, even once like there's a law that says if somebody is a house owner that does not really want to obey the rules of a community, it's better you take your house again, away from there.
From the community.
You must.
It can't be bigger than the community. Yes.
So community is bigger than an individual. So these are the things that will make them to sober and realize that the community has a bigger control and they can do and undo. Like taking laws to your hands, you have overdone it. You take steps where you need to report to the enforcement agents, take the appropriate thing. The same thing goes to where you have these trends, like what happened in Delta State just
recently.
They said they are celebrating.
It's their culture.
It's not.
Some people say it's their culture.
No,
it's not normal.
The head of the community was even is still in custody of the police.
It is what it is. God helping us. Well, we can't stop talking about it. That's just it. To get to the roots of it and get to this final solution, we can't stop talking about it. I want to appreciate you for taking your time to come to the show today, all the way from Ilara. Thank you so much, madam.
Welcome.
Yes, Honorable Abayomi, thank you too for being part of the conversation today.
It's my great pleasure, and thank you for your honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, it's a devastating thing to know that we are still having issues relating to community violence and gender-based violence around us. But of course, we keep talking about it. The policies of government are there, but still we are still recording issues relating to this. I want to say, let's just put our hands together, contribute our quota to ensure that we have a very reduced, if not educated level. Until next week when I come your way again, my name is Moreni Keji Shobaloju. Try and be peaceful in your community and be an agent of peace that you like to.